Now, on an entirely different matter, Washington Democrats' inflation is slamming consumers with the highest prices in 40 years. One of the toughest blows has been the soaring cost of a trip to the gas pump. A gallon of regular costs a full $1 more today than it did a year ago. So after triggering an historic run of inflation and hammering American producers with anti-energy policies designed to restrict supply, our Democratic colleagues are suddenly talking about gas prices. And there's a bold, creative plan, temporarily suspending the gas tax to the tune of 18 cents. Oh, and excluding diesel. A slap in the face to truckers and a further burden on the supply chain. Oh, and just to make the political games transparent, they want this to expire right after the midterms, as soon as the next Congress is sworn in. Democrats want to blow a $20 billion hole in highway funding so they can try to mask the effects of their own liberal policies on working Americans. They've spent the entire year waging a holy war on affordable American energy, and now they want to use a pile of taxpayers' money to literally hide the consequences. As the senior senator from West Virginia has pointed out, people want their bridges and their roads, and we have an infrastructure bill we passed this summer, and they want to take all that away? It just doesn't make sense. He added, this half-baked proposal doesn't make any more sense than the president's pointless decision to take oil out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve last year. President Clinton's Treasury Secretary Larry Summers called this stunt short-sighted, ineffective, goofy, and gimmicky. That's the Secretary of the Treasury in the Bill Clinton administration about this idea. Back in 2008, then candidate Obama himself said this: we're arguing over a gimmick that would save you half a tank of gas over the course of the entire summer so that everyone in Washington can pat themselves on the back and say they did something. Well, let me tell you, this isn't an idea designed to get you through the summer. It's designed to get them through an election. That's Barack Obama in 2008, and he was right. Look, if Democrats actually want to help the American people fill their tanks, they wouldn't have been attacking American energy every way possible for the entire year. President Biden made killing the Keystone XL pipeline his day one priority. Democrats voted in lockstep to endorse President Biden's ban on new energy exploration on federal lands. At every turn, in every way, Democrats have made it harder to produce affordable and reliable American energy. Take any form of energy, and if the people in San Francisco don't find it fashionable, the Biden administration has gone after it. 3 years ago, under Republican policies, the United States became a net exporter of oil for the first time in more than 70 years. From a sheer mathematical perspective, for the very first time since World War II, we were producing all that we needed and then some. Alas, a very different philosophy now controls Washington. In President Biden's first year, our own oil imports from Russia hit a new all-time high. But as we speak, events in Eastern Europe are reminding the entire world that energy abundance is not just about families' pocketbooks. There's a colossal strategic cost when our nation and our allies become economically dependent on countries who don't like us very much. Some of our European allies have spent many years voluntarily winding down reliable sources like nuclear and coal and refusing to tap into their own considerable natural gas reserves via fracking. Instead, they gambled on less reliable sources, outsourced their perceived dirty work to places like Russia. Western European elites decided they wanted their energy production out of sight and out of mind, and Putin was all too happy to oblige them. Even after Russia invaded Georgia in 2008 and Ukraine in 2014, Germany willingly signed up for Putin's Nord Stream 2 pipeline. It would negate Ukraine's own pipelines and deny the money and leverage that Ukraine needs to keep Russia at bay. But Germany backed it. Meanwhile, Berlin put off building liquid natural gas terminals, instead choosing to rely on Russian gas and refusing to diversify its import options. I'm hopeful the latest indications that Germany is reconsidering this will prove to be accurate. The Biden administration has scrambled to connect our at-risk allies with some energy resources from everywhere else. But it should not have taken this latest Kremlin misbehavior to remind the West that self-sufficiency actually matters. It matters. And Democrats have still not flinched in their broader war against our own U.S. production. Glitzy summits in Paris, finger-wagging climate rhetoric are one way to approach energy policy. Actually exploring and developing abundant, affordable, and reliable domestic energy is another approach, and that's the approach that will actually work.